Yay! We are live. Hello. Is anybody?
Hello, hello.
It
Okay, I
always
guess
takes it always takes StreamYard a minute to
to catch up.
tell you if anybody's here. So hello. Oh
Yeah.
yes, there are a handful of you here. Excuse me. Hello, hello. So how are you, Katie?
I am good. A bit tired. I feel I've been so sluggish this month.
Hmm.
I've been in hibernation.
It's January. I mean,
It is January. It's the
that makes
perfect month for hibernation.
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have watched 4 seasons of Virgin River in the last, like, 2 weeks. So,
Wow. So that's what you're see, I'm currently watching
I think the newest season was just released, I believe. I have to double check. So I stopped at the end of this whatever one I just finished earlier was the last one in this season.
yeah.
Because 'Cause I'm gonna watch the newest one with a friend of mine, but I don't know if where I'm at is the newest one or not. I gotta double check.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my escape from the world,
Yeah,
show.
I'm not watching anything right now that I'm escaping the world from. I'm currently rewatching the show Band of Brothers, which is like super intense.
Nice. Nice.
Amazing. Like
Yeah.
incredible show, but really, really intense. I wanted to watch it because I think the newest there's Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and then there's this new one that is just being released on Apple, 20 years after those first ones. About it's called like Masters of Air or something like that, and it's about pilots
Okay.
in World War II. Anyway, but I really want to watch it and I want to rewatch.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's super intense and not like I would not call it fun watching.
No.
So,
Well, I mean, I cry almost every episode in Virgin River, so it's not that's not fun watching either, but it's therapeutic maybe in a way.
yes, yeah. I think I've only ever
Hello.
watched. I'm not sure I ever even made it through the first season of Virgin River, and it's not because I didn't enjoy watching it. It's just I stopped and
Yeah, my
didn't pick
mom
it.
is the one that put that on my radar. So I'm like, okay, if mom recommended it, she knows me
Yeah,
pretty well. I'll
yeah,
watch
yeah.
it. And I've enjoyed it. So hi friends. We got a few friends here. Hello, hello, hello. DJ and Kim and Rhonda and Ann and Talana. Hello, everyone. So we are just the two of us tonight to talk about the Winter King.
The Winter King.
So Amanda is not a huge fantasy person, so she already wasn't gonna read this one with us.
Yeah, she was like,
she's like, I'm gonna step out of
fun.
this. And then Jenna just had something come up tonight, so she couldn't be with us this evening. So it's just Katie and I, but we both read it. And hopefully those of you here have read it as well and are ready to chat for a little bit. This is our final one of the year.
Final book.
And then next will be middle grade March. So we will not do a book at all in February. We're taking the month off.
Taking the month off, but
the off from reading together, but not off from making plans for.
Yeah, not off from planning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And filming and editing and getting all the announcements up and all that jazz.
There's still a lot to do. That's why we took the month off from
right
the club.
Yeah.
So that we could do all the things we need to do to prepare for.
Oh my word, Rhonda.
We still have 40 pages to go.
It's like where everything happens.
Are you prepared to be spoiled?
Yeah. Like what's
trying to
that's
think
like everything.
Yeah, like Rhonda, tell us what has happened so far so that we know.
310-ish. Oh yeah. Okay. Yikes. Jen really enjoyed it. Not a fantasy reader, but I gave it a go and was glad. Nice.
To me, it really felt more like a fairy tale retelling than a strict fantasy book. I don't know.
It did feel like very fairy tale-esque. And also like Narnia.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like Narnia. Felt just a little bit like historical fiction that takes place in the Northern Hemisphere. I mean, the fantasy, it was sort of lightish fantasy, really.
Yeah, there wasn't a load of magic, just a tiny bit. Yeah. Also liked it. Nice. Once I got involved in the book, it was hard to stop. Nice. She got the book from the underground hole in the temple. Oh, that's where you left off and is back in her house. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's going to happen. There's a lot to happen still.
Perfect read.
What were your overall impressions, Krista?
Okay. Well, I had a like the first 40 pages or so, 25 pages, maybe 30 pages. I was like, this is really going to be slow. Like, it took me a minute to actually care and want to, like, before I was captured by the story.
Mhm.
But once I got past that first chunk, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I liked the vibes. I loved the wolf randomly. I
Mhm.
liked Cora and her love for her family and her
Mhm.
like, her grief and her strength and her desire to learn and want to learn how to read. And I liked her friendship with Peter. Yeah, there was a lot that I liked about it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I did find it to be a bit predictable, but
Yeah.
that's because I've read others like Narnia. Like I mean, I felt like it wasn't something brand new for me.
Yeah. It wasn't groundbreaking.
Sure. But it was an enjoyable read. I think I
Yeah.
ended up giving it, I don't know, 3.5 or 4. It's 4 on
Mhm.
Goodreads, and I don't remember if that was 3.5 or 4, but one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I had a very, very similar overall impression. I thought it was well done. I really liked the characters. I will say, I don't think it's middle grade. This
No,
read like teen. Like if this were an Owl's Nest book, this would be in our teen line. This
yeah,
would not be a middle grade book. It
sure.
read
Yeah,
too old. I mean, they talk about
right,
getting married. That is not middle grade.
right. That's true. And it was very like kind of a combo of deep and sad, and there isn't as much of an upswing as you normally would expect from a middle grade. Like it did
Pause for
end.
just a second.
Although that's fine.
If you want a shower, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Talking Fox. Sorry.
No,
Keep going.
no, I just think it did end in a positive way, but I think in middle grade you kind of expect that upswing to start a little sooner and have a little more,
Mm,
I don't know. It was a heavier read and
it
all
was a
across.
little heavier. Like it didn't feel like I thought it was such an interesting reading experience for me just from like my publishing brain because like it
Yeah,
didn't read like YA to me. This does not like YA as it stands in the publishing world. It didn't read like YA, but it
yeah,
definitely wasn't middle grade. That's why like for Owl's Nest, I would put it in our teen, like it was teen. It read like a teen book.
yeah.
Um and yeah,
What did you think?
but I overall I really liked it. I feel like she really captured that sort of like Nordic winter
Yeah,
rural
yeah.
story. Yeah.
I had heard this too, and I have not read Till We Have Faces, but I did see that as well. And now I'm kind of curious to read
Oh,
Till We.
you haven't read Till We? I read that book last year.
Yeah,
That is one of those books that's very small
yeah,
but very deep
yeah.
and like kind of like it is thick material
Sure.
to think about. Like I feel like it's a book that I'm going to have to go back to again and again because I feel like I just scratched the surface of it. It was
Yeah.
good, but it's
Cool.
really different from like Narnia.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've read
But
other
I'm
CS
pretty sure
books.
C.S. Lewis considers that his favorite fiction book. I could
Really?
be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Wait, Till We Have Faces is fiction, not nonfiction. Oh yeah. Okay, I need to read it. I need to read it.
Yeah, till we have it's a retelling of well now you caught me off guard because I can't remember. Till We Have Faces. Um It's a myth. It's a myth retold. It's about it's a retelling of Cupid and Psyche.
Okay. Yeah, that's what Katie just said too here.
Yeah.
Based on Cupid and Psyche, which I'm not familiar with that. Okay, so Katie called that mythical fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Pam also doesn't read a lot of fantasy, but enjoyed it. Katie can't wait for Middle Grade March. Oh, fun. Favorite of the year so far, or second. Love it.
That's
Perfect read for this time of year. That's true. Cora. Liked Cora right away. Had some interesting characters. I agree. We'll get into some of them. Because afraid it was going to be too slow, but then it went fast. Yeah. Agree that it's
the predictableness didn't bother me.
Sure, me either.
Yeah, because of the kind of story it was, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like with this kind of story, because it felt a little bit like a myth or like a fairy tale,
Yeah.
that's kind of what you expect. It's not going to have a lot of those twists and turns or like new fantasy that you get
Right.
with. Yeah.
Actually says why. Okay. Strong female character. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It didn't bother me.
Katie says that she's read Till We Have Faces, but did not get those vibes from Winter King. I agree. It did not feel too much like Till We Have Faces to me.
Okay.
I mean, partially I think because Till We Have Faces is an adult novel, and also the writing in Till We Have Faces is just so beautiful. And it's not like the writing. I actually thought the writing in The Winter King was good.
Yeah.
Once again, I wouldn't say it's like the most spectacular writing I've ever read, but you know, not adult. And also, I don't think the story totally lined up with Till We Have Faces. Like, if it's like based on Till We Have Faces, it's a very loose, very loosely based.
More inspired by.
Katie says that she feels like the struggle and anxiousness of Cora to provide for her family and her desperation really drove her decisions. I agree with that a lot.
There was a desperation all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you felt their hunger, their cold. You felt all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poverty.
And you felt how dire the situation was too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I've pulled up. So Jenna had some things to say too. Oops.
That was like the main guy. What's his name? The head honcho guy. Kept that from everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the plebes in their place. Oh, I thought this is an interesting critique from Jenna. She said she thought it was beautiful and well done, but she wanted more information about the wolves, the Draugr, the world below, and the ghosts Cora saw. It's true. Some of the world building was kind of thin.
Yeah.
And probably could have been fleshed out a little bit more. Yeah. Although I will say, I'm not sure I would have wanted the book to be a whole lot longer, so I don't know how she would have done. I mean, this was 350 pages, which is, I mean, that's, it's kind of pushing it for teen book. So I don't know how that would have been added, but I do agree that those aspects were pretty thin.
Right. Like, we got the wintry vibes. We got the cold. We got the atmosphere. But yeah, the world itself could have used a little more
fleshing out. Like, we didn't learn a lot about the wolves, right?
No. I mean, it did explain a little when she finds the book and the book is read, that the wolves are protection.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the head guy was like trying to get rid of the wolves because he didn't want that protection to be there, because he was just everybody, but that's all that we really knew about them, other than Cora's few encounters with the one wolf. That I was kind of hoping just
Mhm.
for a twist that it was like her dad, or the king himself, like an Aslan kind of a
Mm.
wolf. I was kind of hoping for something a little more out of the wolf, but it's okay. I guess that would have been a
Um,
little more.
yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So let's talk. I'm using Jenna's notes as a guide here. Let's talk a little bit about Cora as a main character and what we thought about her, like who she was. Like, did you like Cora right from the get-go?
I didn't have any issues with Cora. I thought Cora was a fine character. Um, I mean, you see right away the desperation that Katie had talked about, the struggle and the anxious, like her anxiousness was right
Mhm.
from the beginning. Um, and the grief. I mean, all of that kind of stemmed too from grieving. They lost their lifestyle, their
Yeah.
father, and like everything kind of all in one blow. And trying to protect her mom, and the whole feast at the beginning, and her mom's stress over providing a perfect feast, and
Mhm.
wanting to kind of help her and make sure that happened. I mean, she definitely was a very loyal daughter, sister. Yeah.
Did you guess about the weed?
No. No.
I didn't either. That's kind of an aside because that's has nothing to do with Cora. I just thought about it and I was like, that did surprise me. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yes, Pam, I think that's what Jenna was kind of getting at. Cora was not she wasn't perfect. And I really enjoy characters that feel human, but are still likable, you know? Like
Yeah.
she was not perfect, but she was still likable. Um and uh
Yeah. I agree.
yeah.
It took a minute to kind of get to know her a little bit. So it did feel like a lot.
Mhm.
She just had so much. I mean, it definitely talks about bitterness and anger and unforgiveness, and
Yes.
she had a lot of that at the beginning, and it made her a little bit impulsive and want her to like made her just angry at everybody.
Mhm.
But yeah, once you understand where it's all coming from, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, this is back to world building. I forgot to put this up. A little prologue explaining things a little better.
Mhm.
Could have
That
been a
probably
great.
would have been helpful. Just a really short prologue to kind of
Yeah.
set the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She did show a lot of courage.
she did. Kind of reckless courage, really, but
Yeah.
definitely courage.
I'm picturing the scene where the two guys were talking about the book, and she was she got caught in there cleaning, but then she's
Mhm.
like inching to the edge. I'm like, girl, stand back if they
Or
see
like
you.
the first time she discovered the book,
Yeah.
and she just, like, stayed down there for a while, like, reading it. I was like, "Girl, what are you doing? They could come back and check on you cleaning the room
Yeah.
at any
Any
moment. Get
second.
out of
Yeah.
there."
Yeah. She's a little bit impulsive for sure.
Yeah.
Or reckless is a good word. I got Katniss vibes with having to take responsibility. Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, you predicted it from the first mention.
Did
Interesting.
you really? Rhonda. See, I guess I just don't usually read like that, so
Yeah.
I'll look back on it and be like, "Oh, she planted that right at the beginning. Good for her." That was
Yeah.
thinking ahead.
That's funny.
But I didn't pick up on it. I didn't think about it at all.
I kept
Um,
I kept getting people confused, to be honest. Like for a while. I don't know. Maybe because of where I was at in my headspace listening to it.
mm.
Like the
How was
head
the audiobook?
it was fine. I don't really remember. But Martin and Peter were fine. But like the head guy and then the guy that was in charge of the mom of the cooks, who was like putting the moves on the mom for a while there, and then all the I almost said horrors. What are those guys called?
I don't remember. I don't remember any of the
aldermen. All the aldermen.
the
There's a
aldermen.
couple different ones that were mentioned, and I'm like, who on earth? Who's who here? I just
Yeah.
kept getting confused of who was who for a little bit, but I think that's because of that's a me problem, not necessarily a book problem.
Okay, can we talk about all the character names? Because these notes from Jenna, I'm like, I don't remember who this person was.
Yeah.
I know them based on who they were in the book,
Yeah.
but I don't recognize their names. So there was Peter. I do remember Peter was
The friend.
Matthias. Oh,
Matthias.
he was the alderman, the good alderman.
Who taught her to read. Mm-hmm.
Yes, who taught her to read. Martin. Was he the one that...
The young guy who gave her
young
food?
Guy, yes.
Yeah, like what was up with Martin? I would have liked more of his story in there too. Because at first you like, I mean, it's good. He came across, it was a good arc because he came across as like, oh, he's helping them, he's giving them food, but you kind of had an inkling like,
oh, you knew right away not to trust him,
yeah.
And I was like, why is she trusting him? I never that actually didn't quite land for me. It's like, why is she so willing to trust him?
Because she's 16 and he was a cute rich guy living in the
yeah, but she knew she doesn't trust she didn't trust like the religious order, and she knew that he was very close to the top, and like she was all ready to reveal her secret to him, and I didn't really buy that.
Yeah,
but I don't know, maybe other people did.
Yeah, and the author kept switching between, I don't know how to say that, Abby and Abalone.
I said abalone.
Abalone.
Is that wrong?
Like
anemone?
I don't know. Yeah, I thought they were different people for the longest time. Yeah, I love that I loved like the little glimpses of love between Matthias and Cora's mom.
I know. That was so sweet.
I loved that. Yeah, the parts where she was learning to read was cool. Oops.
What's up, honey?
Yeah, needing the food.
I'll come and give you a kiss, okay? Go get in bed. I'll come give you a kiss. Fox, I'm in a book club right now.
Good night, Fox. Yeah, it was desperation, I think, was a good part of it.
Yes, I do. That I did buy. Like, she needed the food. And he was giving her food, and I think I got on board with that part of it. Yeah. It was the like wanting to share her secrets and like trusting him over Peter, who was a lifelong friend. That I didn't.
Yeah, that was weird. A list of characters at the beginning would have been helpful.
Yeah, to keep everyone straight.
You don't think she actually trusted him? Well, she didn't, because she didn't actually ever tell him.
She didn't ever tell him
her secret. So
her secret. Yeah. I mean, I think she wrestled. She wrestled with trusting. She really wanted to trust him. Here's kind of how I read it. I read it as she did trust him, but Christine couldn't actually let her give him her secret, so she didn't ever go through with it. But she was acting like she trusted him and talking about him like she trusted him.
Yeah,
she just never took that final step to tell him her secret. And then of course,
and then once she found out,
and then she stopped trusting him.
Yeah. Right, I was curious about that too.
Yes. We never found that out.
Nope. When Cora suggested that Matthias eliminate the rules of celibacy there at the end, and he blushed. So cute. So sweet. Mm-hmm. It's hard the way we're thrown in the world at the beginning. Yeah, sometimes that works when the author is good. Like Brandon Sanderson does this. You're like in it immediately, but he's so genius at building the world along with the story. So you don't know the whole, like, because otherwise it's way info dumpy, right? If you start at the beginning by just explaining the world without starting the story as well, it's boring. Like,
Right.
it's not as exciting. But I think it's a skill that is a tough. I'm not an author, so I don't know, but I feel like that would be a hard thing to do, to give the reader enough to understand the world in the moment, but then
Especially, I
continue.
think, with a standalone fantasy
Yeah,
novel. I mean, that's why there are so few standalone fantasy novels,
fancy.
because it's
Yeah,
really hard to build a whole world
right,
in, a
right.
350
Yeah.
page novel.
So I feel like in this one, the wolves, I would have rather, like, I don't know, like the danger of the wood and the draugrs or whatever those things were called. Like that didn't really need to be there for me because it was never, that wasn't the real uh threat. The threat was the cold and the lack of food and the illness, right? The draugrs that lived in the woods weren't a very real threat because they were such a minor part of the story.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but then, like, if you get rid of them, then what are the purpose of the wolves? To protect the people? Like, you learn that that's what they're for, but like, what, you don't really need those guys either. Like,
Yeah.
because the real threat was winter, poverty, like not having enough food,
And then
desperation,
the
and then the
sickness.
sickness, the coughing
Mhm.
sickness that came at the end. Like, that was the real threat. And yeah, just like constantly feeling like you need to give these sacrifices to the Winter King. So like all of that was very felt, but then
Mhm.
this whole like other part of it that was not explained enough. Like even the whole Winter King and the story of his wife and her going to the underworld. Like, I'm like, why? I don't know. It just didn't feel like it matched completely with the story that was being told here. I don't
That's
know.
really true. I mean, you almost didn't need that Winter King part of it, really. Like, you
Right.
could have gotten rid of that,
Well, like the backstory of the Winter
the
King.
backstory of it.
We didn't need that. Like, I get the Winter King part of it because the twisted religious
Yeah.
leaders
Yeah.
per se, like that's why these
Mhm.
people were so entrapped in their poverty, because he kept saying, "Oh, the Winter King spoke to me, and this is what you need to do." Blah blah blah. But we didn't need the backstory of the why. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't care because that wasn't the issue of
Mhm.
the moment, really. I guess it's all connected ultimately, but I don't know.
And that kinda feeds into a little bit of what Jenna says here. She says, "The scale of the story was smaller than she thought it would be. She thought Cora was going to go on a long journey to try and find the real king.
Yeah.
The ending felt a little rushed, and she wanted to meet the king."
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, it sort of felt like there was a
It wasn't,
setup to
yeah,
something
bigger.
more
Yeah.
and bigger, and it didn't end up being that. And
Well,
actually, it felt
it looks like she's gonna go into the cave and, like, find a draugr. Like, it looks like once you know a
yeah,
little bit of the story
yeah,
that
and it
she's
did, and I think that's true, and I think that the when you do learn about the Winter King's backstory, it feels like it almost feels like it was tacked on a little bit, like
yeah.
not tacked on. I'm being a little overly critical, but I do feel like, you think that the
Well
scale of the story is going to be bigger than it
well, and I
is.
feel like that's the outline of the world that Christine Cohen created in her mind. Like,
Yeah,
this is the world. There's this king, he lost his wife, blah, blah, blah. This is why he brings winter back every, like, so that's like the outline of it. But then we have this like focus on Cora, and so like so she kept referring to it, but it never, the scope of Cora's story and what was going on didn't ever get out to that level, I
yeah,
guess.
yes, yep.
I 100% thought of The Village multiple times while I was reading this. The M.
I don't
Night
think I've ever seen The Village, so I
Oh
didn't
my
actually
word.
come to my head.
Oh my word. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of that kind of movie, but
Yeah,
I really liked The Village. Just brilliant. And and like jump scares and the whole 9 yards, but fun twist of things that I don't watch that kind of stuff, so I had no clue that it was
Mhm.
coming. But yeah, Katie, I 100% thought of The Village multiple times. Not sure how they added to the plot, right? And I've never seen Game of Thrones, so White Walkers.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I thought they seemed like White Walkers to me. That was how I saw them.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is. The desperation, hunger, and cold just ripped me apart when she was given reading lessons. I felt hope for the first time. Yeah. It was hard. It was definitely a kind of darker. I don't know. It felt good for winter.
January, yeah.
Yeah. Quite confused. Yeah, I agree. And the beginning just took me a minute to really
It's
get in.
probably why it felt slow at the beginning, because you're like trying to get your bearings, and she has
Right.
to sort of introduce you to the world, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of characters and etc. We didn't talk about this. Technically, I think it is Christian fiction. I'm pretty sure the publisher.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, there's a bit of allegory, although I appreciated that it didn't feel like
It
what's the
wasn't
word?
as straightforward as like a Narnia, like
Right.
as Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and
Yeah.
Aslan, and like it wasn't as a straightforward allegory as
Right.
some others.
Yeah.
It felt more fairy tale to me
Yes.
with some allegorical aspects
Elements.
to it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it felt like the kind of thing that you could freely hand to someone who wasn't a Christian,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because it didn't feel heavy-handed. That's sort of like, it did not feel heavy-handed at all to
Sure.
me.
Same for The Village. Yeah, Game of Thrones is not a Krista show. I 100% know that, so it's okay. I have no desire.
Yeah. It's
Names are
great, but it's not a Krista show.
not for me. Names are not a problem. I read it on Kindle and highlighted every name and wrote down. There you go.
That is
That's
smart.
a good plan, right? Family, friends, village, kitchen workers, eldermen. Katie, I
That
love
is
that.
so smart. I feel like every fantasy book I pick up, I might have to start doing that
Like
because
make the connections. Yeah. I
yeah.
love that. Oh, good night, Anne.
Good
Thanks
night,
for popping
Anne.
in for a little bit.
Do you mind if I go give Fox a goodnight kiss real quick? Can you
No, that's
handle it for a couple minutes?
that's fine.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Wait, did Jenna have any other questions? Put another question out there first.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me see what else Jenna said here. Oh, she talks about the author influence, which you already mentioned. Until we have feces.
Oh no. Not quite the same.
Not quite. Till we have faces and Hades and Persephone, the Hades and Persephone myth.
Okay, Katie just brought that up too. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, talk about that.
Okay. Discuss amongst yourselves. Okay, so the author, I think I read this in a couple of people's reviews on Goodreads, that this is like a Nordic version of the Hades and Persephone, Nordic retelling of Hades and Persephone, but in reverse. Okay, Hades taking her to the underworld and she comes back to Earth, bringing spring with her every year. Yeah, I am not very familiar with mythology, so I wouldn't have picked up on any. I mean, I know Hades is like the underworld, and this had the underworld in it, so that's the only aspect of that I would have picked up on anyways. Yeah. Any other Greek mythology people out there catch that? A short epilogue, that would have been nice, like in the spring. Or like, yeah, I don't know. The new system. Who's in charge? Who did they get rid of?
Okay, I don't. What did you say about Hades and Persephone?
Nothing. I just read Katie's comment and said I don't know anything about Hades or Persephone, except that it's the underworld, right? And
Oh
Hades
yeah,
brings-
yeah.
yeah.
That's about all I know. But I know that there are people who love the Hades and Persephone myth.
Yeah. There are people who'd love it. It's
Mhm.
true. I've seen that. That's cool. I'm not a huge mythology, like all those books that have been coming out in the last couple of years that are mythological retellings or what, like from a different perspective or whatever. Clytemnestra is the one from this year, Ariadne, Circe, like all of those. I've never read any of them, and
I want to read. Like
do you?
they intrigue me,
Not at
but
all.
I have not picked them up yet.
Yeah.
You have no interest?
Not at all. Zero.
Hmm.
I love that you still have all your notes from senior English high school.
That is amazing.
That's so funny. Oh man. And then Maria said she would have liked an epilogue. Maria, what would you want in the epilogue?
Yeah, tell us what you would want as part of the epilogue. Like, what did you want to see? Anyone can answer that question. If there was an epilogue, what would you have liked to see in it?
Maybe like Matthias and Greta's wedding. That would be cool. Isn't that Greta? Greta's the mom, right?
Was it Greta? I think so.
Something like that. Their wedding would be a fun, that would have been a fun epilogue. Like something positive in the springtime, flowers in everybody's hair, a big feast. And like the new, I mean, whatever they have new, are they going to keep the alderman? Are they going to, like, what's going to be different? There was an epilogue. Peter could see Matthias was in charge. Years later would be interesting. Yeah. Kind of. Was it actually called an epilogue? Or was it just, I don't know. It was just chapter 35. It did kind of wrap things up. But yeah, it would have been nice. Like 1 year later.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're at 1 year later. The wolves walking freely through the... No, just kidding. Peter and Cora, Matthias and Greta, double wedding in the spring. Oh man, Peter and Cora were too young, but I would have loved to see them together.
Mm-hmm.
With Matthias and Greta being married. That would be cool. Maybe there's going to be a sequel. I don't know. Yeah, and what happened to Martin? Like he disappeared at the end. What happened to him?
Martin was the bad guy, right?
Yeah, what did happen to him?
No, didn't a wolf got him?
Oh,
am I imagining?
No, the wolf took the high alderman away. The wolf came and took the high alderman.
Who was Martin?
Martin was the kid that gave her the food.
He left. Didn't he like escape? He like left. He like skedaddled
out of town.
He went out. He like
into the woods.
Yeah.
Being eaten by the Draugrs.
Yeah.
Dragers, whatever those things are called. Yeah. Martin left town.
Yeah.
Last I remember, same. Last I remember, he was knocked out at the temple. Cider. It'll do it to you every time. I love that. No. We won't tell anyone else. It's different from everything else that we've read. I'll say
ever.
That. Yeah. Every other group read, it's different from them. So
that's your hint.
That's your clue. We wanted to see the village have warmth and food. Yeah, that would have been nice, Pam. How old is Cora? 16? I think she was 16.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, this is a little tidbit that Jenna.
We can keep a secret.
How about you take some guesses? And we won't tell you, but I'd love to know what you think.
I don't have a good poker face. Don't take this.
Don't get. Krista says don't.
What were you gonna say?
Okay, so Jenna said, to who said, how old is Cora? So Jenna said, and then we talked about this a little bit. I thought this book was middle grade because her library has it classified in juvenile fiction, and she saw someone post about it on Instagram, and they said it was middle grade. But Christine Cohen wrote it as a YA book, but she skewed it young to try and reach the 13 to 16-year-old audience.
Perfect.
Well, which is overlooked in the traditional publishing market, which is true, which is why.
Yeah. And I think it's perfect for that age group. Like, I would have loved this.
I would hand it to a 13-year-old. There's nothing in it that is inappropriate.
And I would have loved this when I was in 7th grade, 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
I would have eaten it up. Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not really middle grade, but it's really like sort of upper middle grade teen
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Even though it's a
kind of like,
16-year-old main character, it's
I
really
would
a teen
say
book.
it's similar to the books of Bayern, like Goose Girl, River Secret,
Totally.
Forest Born. Like
Yes.
those have the same kind
Very
of
similar.
fairy tale vibes and older,
Yes, or like
older teen.
or like Karen's fairy tale retellings, like Son of the Deep.
Oh yeah, I still read them. The new one that just came out like yesterday.
Yeah, the new one came out yesterday. Son of Bitter Glass came out yesterday. So if you like these books, if you liked this book,
yeah,
Karen's, and actually Karen, I mean, I'm speaking from, I'm a little biased, I guess, but I think her books are better than this one personally.
nice.
So everyone should pick up Son of the Deep and Son of Bitter Glass.
Let's get a prompt. We have to still figure out the rest of our prompts. We have a couple, but
yeah,
I want to like make my TBR and then pick the prompts based on what I want to read.
I know. If anyone has any good prompt ideas,
yeah, we have a couple, but we that's something we're finalizing tomorrow, actually. So this is your last chance to.
We have the only thing that's truly finalized is that we do know.
Yeah, what the
our group pick, our group read.
Yeah, and I have it on my shelf right there, right over there, but I'm not going to show you.
Teresa says, just hearing you all talk about the book has convinced me that I probably wouldn't have liked it.
Oh yeah, 2 guys proposing to her thought she was older. Yeah, you know what? I just read a book that my main beef with it was The Circus Train by Amida Parikh. No, that's not who it is. Where is my copy of The Circus Train? Oh, anyways, there is a bit of a romance between 2 characters that starts as a friendship, but the romance starts when the girl is 12 and he's 14. Like, it's too much romance for 12 and 14.
Yeah.
Like, they sneak out, have champagne, get caught sleeping in the sleeping car of the train because they had a little bit too much to drink. They weren't like sleeping together, but they were just sleeping and got in trouble for it. But I'm like, it just was too much for 12 and 14 to me. I was like, nah. So yeah, I always want to think of them as older when there's proposals. Yeah. So I understand that a lot.
Even in like a historical setting like this where it might be.
You were going to learn about it very soon, like within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Before the middle of February.
Yeah.
You will know. Don't worry.
We have
a diaspora story. It takes place in another country. Good idea. It's customary to marry in their teens. Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but just 12 just feels like 12 just felt too young. But
Jenna gave some quote. I don't know if we want to talk more, but Jenna gave some quotes. The one that I think maybe there's some fodder here for discussion. Let's see. Cora, you think you're the only one who's suffering? That doesn't give any of us an excuse to do terrible things to fix the problem or to fix them, which Peter says to Cora. Peter was very wise.
Peter was very wise. I liked Peter a lot.
Yeah.
I liked his character a lot. He was so patient with her. No, like knowing all that she had been through. And yet also stood up for himself and like, I'm not going to continue to do this. Like, I'm not going to keep coming around. Like, if you're
like, he set some boundaries.
Yeah. But also, like, at the same time, helped them by giving work to her brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Peter a lot. Quality fella.
Yeah. But I think that idea of like Cora and I really understood. Cora was making decisions out of desperation. And that's what desperate people do.
Yeah.
And that felt really real. Like, as wise as Peter was to say that to her, I understood why Cora wasn't listening to him also.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, yes, we don't have an excuse, even when we are going through something terrible, to do terrible things in order to fix our problem.
Right.
But in the moment, that can be a really difficult, especially of someone, a kid who has taken on the responsibility of her whole
Right.
family. Like, that's a tall ask. And so, but Peter's wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very wise. Well, and we haven't really talked about like what themes did we see in the book. We talked about the setting and the characters and the story.
Yeah, we didn't talk about themes.
World building. But what themes? I'm writing all the things. I'm writing all the ideas down. Don't worry.
Yeah, debut novel is a great idea. Disability rep, that's also a great idea.
Yeah. Because like bitterness and forgiveness and
Yes.
like,
and we saw that too with her friend who did who was so terrible.
Abby.
Yeah.
Yes, with Ed when I loved that when she like rushed in to help.
Yeah.
It's like, go girl. That was cool redemption between that friendship. That was cool. I liked that.
I did too.
And I liked that it wasn't purposeful that she gave the weed to the mama.
Yes.
At the beginning, she wasn't doing that to be.
Definitely took advantage of the situation.
She sure did. Yeah, power corrupts. That is definitely a theme that's in there. And I wonder, this came out after the Panamania, right? So like the coughing sickness was like, and power corrupting, like, all of some of these things kind of were reflected in reality at the time of it being written as well.
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah, grief, it was touched on.
Grief, yes. Oh my gosh, when her brother died, that was heart-wrenching.
It was, yeah, it definitely was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
I might have cried. I might have teared up at that for sure.
Yeah. That was hard. And that hit me. That hit me for sure.
Hope was in there too. Yeah, I agree, Christine. Man, the mom, I wanted someone to be there for the mom. Good grief. She just was sacrificing so much. Oh, a book recommended by a host or person from the video, the recommendations video.
That's something we've never done.
That's kind of
an
fun.
Interesting idea. I'll do one last thought from Jenna, which was that if you liked this book, then Christine Cohen has another book called The Sinking City, which is a YA fantasy mystery set in medieval Venice.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds like a really cool setting.
Yeah.
Sinking City. I wonder if it's YA in the same way as this one was YA. Because like this is the kind of YA that I enjoy.
Yes,
I don't like a lot of YA.
Yeah.
I can do this YA.
Yeah, this scene when the brothers showed up in the temple. Oh my word.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that was very cool.
Yes, agreed. Whew. Oh my goodness.
Great. Those of you who are here, have any of you read all of the books with us this year? Is there anyone here who read all 9 of them?
I would love to know that.
I'm very curious. Because I didn't read Free Lunch, so I read 8 of the 9.
I got through 3/4 of Free Lunch. I didn't finish it.
that just was November. So that was not a month for me to read. Ah, here we go. Andy, Katie, Marcy. Love it.
Does anyone have a standout?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite book? Krista, do you have a favorite book that we read?
Oh, Kim too. We kind of talked about this on Sprints the other night. So if you guys were here, sorry, we're coming back to this. But yeah, I think for me, the ones that I like, The Marvelous and Ogress and the Orphans. But I mean, I really liked most of them.
Yeah.
I think Belle.
I mean, I had already read The Ogress and the Orphan, so I'm not going to count that for myself.
I like Three Strike Summer.
Yeah, I think Three Strike Summer and The Marvelous were my two favorites.
The Miraculous. I said the wrong thing.
Oh, The Miraculous. Yes, The Miraculous.
Yeah.
The Miraculous and Three Strike Summer were my favorites.
I really
and I'm not counting Graveyard Book because that was also a reread for me.
Same. And I didn't like it as much the second time around as I did the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I listened to it on audiobook and I loved it. The
audiobook
was just delightful.
It was great. But I would have given it 4 stars this time, but I had already given it 5 stars, so I just kept it at 5.
Interesting, yeah.
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 This one and The Miraculous. Nice, Pam. Three Strikes was your save. Patches. Have you commented at all? Thank you for popping in a comment. I'm glad you're here. Loved this and The Miraculous. Oh, loved The Miraculous so much I gifted it to a friend. That's so nice. Yeah, the audio for Three Strike Summer was really cool.
Okay, I'm going to have to listen to the audiobook for that.
I enjoyed that one. Free Lunch might have been your fave, Teresa says. I will read it sometime. It's still on my shelves. It wasn't the right time. It was a little too heavy for my life at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, well, thank you guys for participating with us this year. We're looking at doing it again next year, but changing it up a little bit, how it's going to go. We haven't nailed down all the details, so I'm not going to say more than that. But yeah, we loved reading with you guys as well. And look forward to reading with you in March.
And actually, can I just, because we are going to do it again next year, but it will probably look a little different. But we haven't picked any of the books. I would love to, if you guys have if you have ideas for books that you think we should consider, let us know. I'd love to know if you have any book ideas. Not that we are lacking middle grade books that we want to read ourselves, but
we're here for the trollers too. She's like, I watch all your videos, but I'm a troller. That's totally fine. You're more than welcome to just watch. That is okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was a great year of reading. I enjoyed it.
It was. I agree. And really, it kept me reading because my reading life has been pretty lackluster. So this kept me reading. There is going to be merch.
Oh my word. And let me tell you, you are going to love it.
You are going to love it.
My wallet is not going to love it, but I'm going to love it. Oh my word. I love it. The summer of June was awesome.
Oh, you guys, I'm so glad that everyone enjoyed this. That makes me really happy.
I know. Yeah, it was a great year.
Yeah, it was.
But we're going to wrap it up.
Can I just show you guys one thing before we wrap it up though?
Please.
So this like, what are these called? Tumblr. This was just gifted to me. And look, it's got all these like bookish things. So like, here's a little book stack. It says Narnia, Nancy Drew, The Babysitter's Club, Romeo and Juliet, Pride and Prejudice. And then like all these, like this, like Emerald City. Here's Darcy and
the stopwatch from Alice.
There's Anne Shirley's hat. But look at this. It says Anne
Really?
Shirley has a very bad temper, and then there's her
Out of
little E
chalkboard.
that she wrote on the end.
Oh my word, I love it so much.
I love it so much. There's Toto. It's
That's
just so, and raspberry
cute.
cordial. Oh my gosh, it's just so cute.
Where did you get that from? I love that.
It was a gift. So it was from someone. But the brand says Pippi Post.
Okay.
Pippi Post. It was a gift, so I don't know where it was purchased.
That's super cute.
But it's so cute and I love it. And it came with this little straw too.
Kelly Yang.
Yeah, I love it so much.
I love that. That's so cool. I'm trying to beat your 31 books in March. Let's go. No, just kidding. Every year I'm like, I'm not going to do it this year. And then I do. But I just kind of like remove the pressure. So I'm not aiming for it. Until I am. And then I am. Oh.
It's obviously a highlight for us too.
Very much so.
Yeah. It's like my favorite time of the year, really. March is not a very beautiful month, but it makes March I look forward to it every year.
I'm ready. I'm glad you guys are ready. We just have to get through February.
Mm-hmm.
The shortest month. So it's okay. We can do it. We can get through.
We can do it. Mm-hmm.
I purposely did not put any middle grade on my February TBR so that when March comes around, I'm like, give me all the middle grade.
Yeah.
And I just redid all my middle grade shelves and they look really beautiful right now. And
this is your project. I've been watching your videos, Krista. I just
I need to put the third one is finished. So my shelves are done.
Yeah.
But I have not edited the video yet. So I need to edit it and get that up.
It's fun to watch you like decide which.
But I like literally touched every single book. So now I'm like, oh my word, I want to read it. Oh my word, I want to read this. Yes. I'm going to read this so soon. So yeah, I'm very eager for some of them. Well, for a lot of them actually. Mm-hmm. So it'll be hard to choose. But I love that you read Bud Not Buddy today. I read Bud Not Buddy today. It was a good one. I love Christopher Paul Curtis. Yeah. It worked. We made it work. I think we started out feeling like we all had to be at everything. And then by halfway through, we're like, we don't all have to be at everything.
Yeah.
So we gave ourselves a little grace and made it work. So, yep. But thank you guys. We get excited by seeing your excitement as well.
True.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, half the fun is how excited other people get.
And the announcement will be going up on this channel. Middle Grade March.
Yes, on the Middle Grade March channel. So watch for this and spread it to other people that you know who participate in Middle Grade March, because it's a little bit risky because obviously there's not as many people who follow us here, but we just want to start transitioning all of the Middle Grade March stuff content together.
Hopefully get a little more content on here eventually as well. But the announcement, the collab video I might put on this one as well. That's a good idea. I haven't actually thought about that, but that is where it should be.
That makes sense. We'll put our recommendations videos on our own. Did we say on our own?
TBRs are going to go on our own, but if we do recommendations, we can put them on here. I don't know.
Recommendations should go on here, but TBRs on our own. Yeah.
We haven't like nailed all those details.
No, we haven't. These are things we're going to be talking about tomorrow night.
We're talking out loud. It's processing. Oh, I love it. Oh, good. I'm glad that you enjoyed. We really did try to get a variety of genres and books.
We were very particular about that.
A little bit older, some newer. Yeah, we really worked hard on that. So I'm glad that you noticed and that you appreciated that. But all right, we could probably chat all night, but we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate you guys and really look forward to reading with you in March.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy reading. Until then, hope your February is filled with great books too.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you soon.